There we go. Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome back, the lovely Danielle. And
Hello.
you have met Danielle on a chat that we did, and I uploaded to my channel quite recently. But Danielle reached out to me because she was interested in Reiki after our little chat and wanted a session. So basically, if what I'll just cover first before we chat to Danielle is if you want a Reiki session with me, all you need to do is go to my website, which is www.reikizen.co.uk. I'll put it in the descriptions box below, and you can find me on there. There's a WhatsApp link on there. There's lots of email links on there where you can get in touch. Basically, we'll correspond. We will find a date, time, availability that is good for you, that I can fit around my schedule, and the session will go ahead. And then I'll send you information about your session, what came up, and then you will receive all that, and you can let me know what you felt, what you experienced. But moving on from that, we're going to talk about Danielle and about Danielle's experience with Reiki with myself, which we did about a week ago, I think it was
Yeah, it was
24th,
on the 24th.
24th of January.
Yeah.
So so Danielle and myself, we hooked up and met through Telegram groups and things like that, and then we did our little chat for your channel uh, just before the 24th, wasn't it? Just before,
Yes.
and then yeah, so we hooked up through various groups, and then you've got your own group going, you've got your own YouTube channel going, which is the
Yep.
Conscious Broadcast,
Yes.
which I'll link that in the descriptions box below.
So,
So tell us about your Reiki session. What made you want to try it out?
well, what was really interesting when you were talking about it in our conversation, I think just what you were connecting with on how you were really getting some feedback um through through the conversation that I'm like, I was starting to get intrigued. And then I watched Shannon and you and her post Reiki session. And I just wanted to be like, I wanted to see how it worked because I most of the Reiki sessions I've had have been in person, and each of them have been very different. And I've loved every one of them. But I was thinking, how does this I kind of wanted to see how it worked. I just think I was just curious.
Yeah,
And and I wanted to support you. I love your work. I love what you do. You're so invested and consistent with your message. And the more people I need this in their lives. It's only uplifting. And
yeah,
honestly, it just brings me to center, brings me into like this very loving, neutral place. And so there I go. I was like, I'm going to reach out to Ian and do a session.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And as you can guess from our accents, we are miles and miles apart.
Yes.
So you received what we call distance Reiki or remote healing, or there's various different names for it. I just call it distance Reiki. Predominantly, a lot of my work is distance, but I do some contact sessions as well with people that are local to me. But with distance work is you can connect to anyone in the world, anywhere. So there is no limit when we talk about energy. There is no time and distance. It's all now and it's all one. So how did you prepare for your session? What did you do beforehand? I mean, I know I'll give you a few little pointers of what you could do. But what did you
Ooh,
do? How did
I'm
you get?
trying to remember. My days I'm a little all over the place. So if you don't mind me sharing, I own a gym, but I'm pretty part-time with my husband, and I do quantum healing hypnosis, again, very flexible, and those are in person. And I homeschool my son. And and then I have my broadcast that I do. So in those moments of I think that day it was a homeschooling with my son first. And then so after that, I made sure that I was in my room and I cleared the space, um, and tried to prepare really 15 minutes prior. I added some nice soft Reiki music that I have from before to do my own personal attunement, which I still am working on. But I really just tried I did the best. I'm going to be honest. I could have probably done better, but my days were my minutes were very full. But I
Mm,
did try to really make sure that I was present and calm before we got started. But I just jumped right into it. And I didn't realize that we weren't going to be on some kind of software together. You're
yeah,
like, no, you just lay down and
yeah.
or wherever you feel comfortable. and get set up. And I'm like, that's it. So for me, it kind of took that pressure of like, oh, I have to log on or I have to have my phone on. I felt really good being able just to be in my space.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it, because I mean, I do offer Zoom sessions for people that can't quite grasp distance
Right.
Reiki. However, the people that have had the Zoom sessions have actually said to me at the end of it, you don't need to do this, do you? You don't need to use Zoom.
No.
I said, no, there is no, and I think that the less technology, the less distractions and notifications and all that sort of stuff that can sort of take us away from the moment, the less that you have of that, the better it is for your session, and for your healing within that session, whatever may come up. So what did you feel anything? Did you see anything? Did you experience anything?
Yeah. Well, and since I've tapped into this kind of space, it doesn't take me long to get to the appropriate space. Even if I have some distractions in the background, I'm familiar once you work with this in this space, theta space, alpha theta, that they just kind of fade right away. And
Mm,
then we can start to silence and start doing the work. So as soon as I started to lay down, my cats came in the room. And so I don't know what your experience is with cats, but I hear that they're very in tune and very psychic. Anytime I do this kind of work,
mm,
if I'm listening to something that involves any Reiki or sound meditation, they always seem to kind of come around me. Even when I'm reading about some quantum healing hypnosis journeys, they seem to come around, even if I'm reading quietly. So my one cat came in and sat right on, I have my notes here, and sat right on my left hip because I
mm.
was having some like sacral, I think we talked a little bit about that, but
Yeah, we
one of the
did.
cats, one of the cats sat on my hip, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna let this in as I'm listening to my music, and I'm just letting it all in and just relaxing. And then another cat came in. I have a male cat and a female cat. And the male cat came in and laid on my chest. And I actually was really tight on my neck and my shoulder. And then he started kneading my shoulder. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to allow this to happen. And so, my husband came in and kissed me on the forehead too. He didn't want to interrupt, but he saw that I was laying there resting with music, and he
Mm,
came and kissed me on the crown of my head. And I thought that was really beautiful. So
mm.
I was just allowing all this stuff to come in, but I was just really, the blue waves came in, and that's usually a sign for me that I'm in theta.
Yeah.
And then after the blue waves came in, there was a lot of yellow. I had some yellow coming in and coming out. And then I thought I saw some symbols, and I couldn't quite make it out. But then they just faded, but I saw the colors come through mostly from what I recall, which is relevant to your feedback
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
from our session. But I just really enjoyed having that hour for myself to
Mm,
really just be, because as I told you before, I'm all over the place, which I do kind of love it and thrive. But
mm.
if I can just take that time for myself once a day,
Yeah.
and or even half the time, half an hour, I
Yeah.
find that I'm a better person because my frequency is calmed down.
Yeah. And you feel more more kind of complete, don't you? You don't feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of scatters, and your mind, because usually most people's minds are just like, right, I got to do this, I got to do that. You're
Yeah.
constantly thinking about the various things that you got to do that day or tomorrow or next week, or what went wrong last week or whatever. But just coming into that space and into that presence where you are within that session, it's just total peace. It really is, and it's so beneficial on so many levels with regards to that. Um, I know when you say yellow, I know like solar plexus did come up on your notes that I wrote down. So what I tend to write down in the notes as well is I give all of my clients that receive the distance healing, I'll give them a rundown of what chakras came up. So yours was like the roots, solar plexus, heart, and the crown, which were the main ones that came up. So if you do see yellow, it's usually solar plexus related. If you see red, then it's the root chakra where there's healing going on. And I think a lot of people feel that when you're on this journey that you have to, all the energy and all the healing has to go on up here. But it really is so important to be so like grounded within the root chakra,
Absolutely.
within your sacral, your solar plexus, to keep your bases strong and keep yourself balanced and stable and secure within yourself. So what did you
And that
think?
makes sense. That makes sense for me. I'm an air sign. I mean, I don't know how in tune you
Yeah,
are with,
same here. I mean, I'm a Gemini, so I'm just like
yeah,
I can be a bit floaty.
yeah.
So
I definitely can be very floaty. I'm an Aquarius, so the strangest of them all. So
yeah,
I was really impressed, Ian. Like when if you don't mind me jumping into this, I was just shocked at what you brought in, and it wasn't unfamiliar information. I could
yeah,
definitely resonate with almost every point that you made, which validates the distance Reiki for me,
yeah, absolutely.
because I've had the experience. And then for you to bring all that you brought, I mean, not only that, I was beyond impressed because it was probably the most detailed information that
Mm,
was recorded back to me that I could take in.
yeah,
You know, oftentimes when you're in the middle of Reiki, live Reiki, you're just going through the experience. It's not recorded. And then it happens and you just accept it and then you go. Well,
yeah,
here I've got time to ponder all the feedback that you gave me.
yeah.
And then you gave me a beautiful card too. So
Yeah, and I think that's really important is because some of the information that I do get and I will relate it to the client, it can be stuff that's happened in the past. It can be stuff that's going on now, or it could be stuff that's maybe in the future will be something that might affect you as well, something that might be coming up. But as well as that, some of the information that does come up, it's part of me is trying to like work out what it might mean and what I'm feeling and why am I feeling this and why am I seeing that. So I have to try and like piece it all together to create like a picture. So but I mean 90, I would say probably 98% of the time what I do feel and what I get is usually right. And there will be validation from that from the other person, but it's also great that to have that information. I send you the voice recording, or I'll send you an email with all this information on. So then you can like keep dipping back into that and looking at that and like, oh, actually, yeah. Oh, yeah, that means something now, whereas at that time it might be like, well, I don't really know what that means. But then, because I've found in the past with clients before that stuff has kind of cropped up maybe 2 or 3 months later where it's just like, oh, he mentioned that in that healing session and now this
yeah,
is happening. So and because there's no such thing as time and everything's now. This is where all this information can just come in, and it gives you kind of like you say, it gives you the validation of the distance session that
yeah,
you've received. Um,
right.
and
Well, and with that, um, I not that there was some level of, I think, in my human disappointment, because when you said that there's stuff that's stuck energy, I know that energy has been stuck for so long. And one reason why I'm like, I gotta attune myself or something, because I really want to let it move through.
mm,
What's your feedback on the stuck energy? And is that maybe someone's soul journey, or is it really just timing? And then I want to tell you something that happened that you talked about that I think was a little bit of a release. But
okay, so I mean, stuck energy can be a multitude of things. It can be things that's happened over from past lives into this life. So it can be stuff that you've gathered and you've held on to
yeah,
subconsciously within your
yeah,
soul, and it's become trapped. So you've come into the now, and you've come into this healing journey where you're starting to realize that there's certain things aren't flowing in life, or there's certain things that have happened in life that have created this imbalance within your energy. And it's nothing negative. It's nothing to be kind of like, oh, my energy's stuck. It's nothing to be like down about, because we all have energy issues. Every second of every day, there's something different is going on within our energy, with the people that we interact with, the people that we chat to, the emotions that we interact with other people. They all have an energy signature, and it can affect us in so many different ways. So if we're highly empathic and highly sensitive,
mm,
tune into that and can feel that, and it can trap energy and it can be a bit stuck.
okay,
So over time, this stuck energy will alleviate. It will release. It will start to move. It will start to channel. And I
mm,
mean, there's different. there's so many different healing practices which you can use, so it doesn't just have to be Reiki. It can be acupuncture, it can be other forms of energy healing. It can be Qigong, it can be Tai Chi, it can be yoga. But incorporating all these different forms of energy healing within your everyday practice will alleviate and make things move. And that's kind of like what it is all about. That's what it is. So it's nothing to be kind of like, a lot of people will be like, oh, I've got something that's really stuck and I can't shift it. But
if that's why I was saying it was not surprising. I'm like, it's still there. I thought I did so much work to pass it.
One of them things, and a lot of people will say, well, how many sessions of Reiki do I need to shift this? But it's kind of like, because you're taken into the context of past lives as well, and possible future events that may be in play, because remember, there is no time and space.
Right.
It's now. So there's all these variables that are coming into this session in this moment, where this energy needs to be released. But a lot of this past life energy stuff is stuff that it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a while. And I always say to people, I would say probably 4 or 5 sessions in, you're going to start really starting to feel the energy ramping up within you. After about maybe 1 or 2, you might not feel that much, but there will be a shift, there will be a change, there will be a change in your dimension, your energy. But the more you receive, and the more it becomes kind of, I suppose, like a habitual state of being within that practice, then the energy does flow easier, for sure.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you explaining that too. And it makes us feel like, hey, we are human, right? This is part of the experience.
Yeah.
Energy is going to come in and out and flow. And the more that you know yourself, at least you can see that your body's communicating with you. And I love that too. So I know that there's some things I needed to work on, and I felt really good after our session. And you also had mentioned some sacral issues. And would you consider the lower back a sacral connection, or is that more solar plexus?
Yeah, your lower back, if you're talking about round about where your kidneys are, that's like kind of sacral. That's the same sort of area. Yeah.
Right. So whatever that is, the bridge, right? The bridge between the two. I wanted to tell you because you're like, I think based on the Oracle card, you had said there's some big shadow work that you might have to do. And I was like, okay, I'm ready for it. Now I wouldn't consider this maybe the biggest, but I think it might be one of many things that are coming through. And it almost felt like a Kundalini experience in the sense of energetically, it came out. I've never felt pain like this before, but I was working out. So I own it, as I mentioned, I own a gym, and we were doing class, and I was doing kettlebell swings with like a thruster in between. And I think I just went a little too heavy, felt fine. And then I was sitting down, and then all of a sudden I couldn't get up almost. It was like this really intense pain in my lower back. And I'm like, oh no. And then for some reason, I started getting a download, like, this is energy that you needed to come out. Like, yeah, I might have physically done something, but this didn't feel physical. This felt way more energetic, and it was temporary. And it lasted for like maybe a couple days, but I felt like it was something that's trying to move it up, and it quite didn't make it all the way, but it's gone now. And I was really doing a lot of mobility stretches and things like that to help with the problem. But I somehow got connected with, like, this is the beginning of all that other work that's going to happen. I don't know how you gather that, but I just felt that was really powerful for me, that it was kind of a message of my body really trying to work together.
Yeah.
For me, for the benefit, because I feel so strong. I'm in my strongest, most loving place right now. I've never loved myself more than I do right now. I had a hard time growing up appreciating this body, and I feel great. And I think it's all these stuck emotions that are finally letting go and allowing me to be the best version of myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And you will find that the more that you kind of move your body and do more physical things, such as, I mean, it doesn't even have to be going to the gym. It could just be going for a walk. It can be just some gentle stretches. It could be even just like housework and just moving your body and having a bit of a dance and a sing while you're doing your housework. Even that as well, it's shifting your chi, it's shifting your energy, and it will have an effect somewhere within you that that needs to be released, that needs to be shifted. And as you do this sort of stuff, your vibration lifts, which then, you know, it makes you feel better. And when your vibration lifts and makes you feel better, everything else starts like sort of pinging into place and feeling lighter, feeling easier. Life doesn't feel as heavy at the minute or anymore, you know, because you're in this wonderfully aligned place within yourself. And you know, and that's where as healers, that's where we're all aiming to get to, you know. So I mean, we all have work that we need to do, and we all have various things that we need to work with, but we are doing the work, and that's the important part about it, is that we are recognizing it, and we are moving through the various things that we need to move through, to discover this, I suppose, this bigger aspect of ourselves, that a lot of it is usually just kind of hogwashed or overlooked, and you're just like, no, there's no such thing as all that, you know, it's all just woo woo and all that sort of stuff. But it really, really is powerful, really powerful.
Absolutely. And I find that I'm more in alignment, well, with my reality too. Like
Yeah.
things are just working out for me now. The synchronicities, and just, I don't have fear. I had a lot of financial fear
Mm,
based on some circumstances, and I'm really in my power now. I'm like, that's okay. You know,
yeah.
and we have a waiting list at our gym, and we tell people we have a waiting list, and people are like calling. More and more people are trying to come. And it's like, we've never had this problem before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just so interesting. And I'm just kind of enjoying it. And
Yeah.
I'm okay. You know, I'm okay if I've allowed to let people go that I felt like I had to hold on to because they were providing me for what I needed to pay my bills,
Yeah.
and all that is gone now.
Yeah, you become more universally aligned.
Yeah.
You just know that things will happen when they're meant to happen. And if they don't, and you start kicking yourself, you know, it's kind of like a little message from your higher self saying, you know, just rein your ego in a little bit, because you don't need to react like this. You don't need to get all fearful or all worked up. You know, things will happen the way they're meant to happen, for you, because everything is aligned in the right way. And but then I think a lot of people also will probably question that and say, well, nothing's gone right for me for years. You know, so then you think, well, you need to look a little bit deeper within yourself, don't they, really? There is obviously something within there that
Yeah.
is being healed. There is a level within there of maybe stuck energy or trauma or emotion that has happened and hasn't been looked at, hasn't been released, hasn't been healed. And this is where Reiki can really help to put people on that
Sure.
path
And I
to
do think it's like the consciousness
Mhm.
of someone.
Yeah.
I can relate to that totally. Not saying that things were never going right for me, but for a period of time, you know, I felt stuck. That's where my spiritual awakening came in. And then I had this level of awareness that I didn't have before. And then I realized I was attracting the
Mm,
lack of.
yeah.
And so once I started being more aware and in tune, I realized what Reiki was and how it helped me, and then other modalities that came, and how great it is to support the journey.
Mm,
But a lot, like you said, a lot of people, if they really look at, well, I don't have it and I'm the victim and this is what's happened my whole entire life. You're right. We have to take a bigger lens, and almost like someone's flipping the mirror and taking a look at the journey. And when
yeah.
you can take it from that other perspective, you can learn a lot, you
Mm,
know, and while it might be hard and it needs work, energy work to release it, the traumas and things like that, you start to see things from a different point of view,
yeah,
and
definitely.
that you're no longer that person. That's no longer something that has to hold you down anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally resonate and agree with everything there. Um, so how did you feel about the booking your Reiki appointment, the correspondence, the getting in touch back and forth? Was it easy? Was it quick? Was it
Yes. You were
straightforward?
like
Yeah,
so quick,
yeah.
so quick. It was the easiest thing that I've ever done. It really was. Like, talk about, I didn't have to do anything. Like, literally, you booked it. We talked about a time that worked for both of us. All I had to do was prepare myself on my end. You connected, like, I'm getting ready. Just make sure you're ready. You know, give yourself 15 minutes. Boom. I laid down. And then as soon as it was done, you were like, all right, I got some information for you. I'm going to be sending it shortly. And then, you know, I literally listened, because you gave me a voice, which I prefer, because I can then write while you're speaking, and I get downloads that way. So I appreciate you doing that. And then I did my own little write up back to you, which was helpful for me to reiterate kind of the session for me, so I didn't forget.
Yeah.
And I'm just very grateful to have had the experience. It was, I would highly recommend anyone doing it. And I think I definitely, after what you said too, I could benefit for some more at periods of time that we're ready.
Yeah.
To keep, I feel like we have a really good connection too. I feel like our energies, now that I know you're a Gemini, oh, here we go. No, but just seriously, I think this will be good for us to continue. And I really appreciate your help on my journey.
You too, and I appreciate the fact that you wanted to try it out and give it a go, and because I knew
Yeah.
you knew all about it anyway, and you knew about Reiki, but to try, because when you said it, well, how do I book a session? I was just like, oh, right, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
But
You're like, I wasn't expecting that. And I'm like,
yeah,
yes.
but no, it was absolutely amazing, and it was a really, I mean, every session is different, and every session is wonderful, and every session has um different feelings, different messages. Sometimes some sessions I don't get any information whatsoever. It's just about healing. It's about letting the Reiki do whatever it needs to do, and it's the person's subconscious and higher self that recognizes the energy and delivers it to where you need it within you. So it's not about me thinking, oh well, you need to that Reiki needs to go there, and that Reiki needs to go there. It's just like, no, it's all about you. It's your subconscious that understands it and knows it and recognizes it and takes it in and sends it. And the other thing a lot of people do worry about as well is if they fall asleep, and they say, well, I've fallen asleep, I've missed out on the session. Well, no, you haven't. It's actually probably better that you've fallen asleep, because
Yeah.
if your conscious mind can think quite a lot, and sometimes that needs to be taken out of the picture so the healing can go on within.
I did doze off a little bit after I told you I saw those symbols, and I was trying to figure it out, and then all of a sudden I just started to kind of lay back and just relax. That's my notes too, and I remember that now. And I really have to say, like, the care that you had, like when you showed me the video of your, like, in fast forward, like that to me was like, he really cares. Like, he spent so much effort to get all that he could. I mean,
Yeah,
when someone's remote, you don't know what they're doing,
yeah,
really, but
yeah,
I could see the level of care that you had for me to get the message across from your abilities and your practice. I mean, it goes a long way. And I'm seriously, like, would highly recommend a session to anybody. So
yeah,
this is something so simple, and you can start now. This
mm,
is the time for you to really get to know yourself, get to work with your energy. And at first, you might not really understand it. But
yeah,
then as you work with it over and over again, you're here for guidance and support. And then the person can really take their power back and be like, I know why I'm feeling this way now.
yeah, yeah.
So thank you. Really, honestly, from the bottom of my heart,
Been
I'm grateful for you.
been amazing. It's been a really, really lovely session to do that for you, and to connect again, to be able to talk
Yeah.
about it and relay our messages. So is there anything that you would like to put out there for anyone before we finish for this chat?
Yeah. I just would say this is the time. This is the time if you're curious about some things that you're not quite sure, and this is maybe new to you. I'd love for you to explore just talking to somebody. And Ian is available. I can be available to guide you with the process too. But I mean, I think that a lot of people that I'm trying to connect with are people that are maybe just starting to see things for what they are and
Mm,
not quite sure what that is. And I think you're the perfect person if they give it a try and be
yeah,
open to it. And it's like you stay at home and do it. It's
yeah,
such an easy way for you to start connecting with yourself. If meditation isn't quite ready yet, this just silences you.
yeah,
Just lay back and enjoy it, and just relax, and you'll get so much that you never even expected. It's almost like a reading, right? It's like
yeah,
you're reading someone's body.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just connecting to depends what comes through, what I connect to. You know, it could be just something within them. It could be their soul. It could be their energy. It could be their higher
Yeah.
self. It could be their guides. It could be someone in spirit that wants to connect and speak to them and give them a loving message. There's a multitude of things that can come through. It could be Akashic stuff. You know, sometimes I've seen Akashic stuff come through in
Yeah.
as well. It's just, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly. And yeah, I
Again,
love your style. I love your style because, like I said, you provided so much depth to the session. So I would tell somebody sometimes sessions based on what I've experienced in person are very different than this experience. But from this experience, you will not be disappointed with getting feedback
yeah,
on what you needed. And
yeah,
maybe, like you said, sometimes what you needed was just a Reiki session of clearing and opening the channels.
yeah,
But if you come with an open mind and ready to receive,
yeah.
you will be blown away. So Ian, thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
this opportunity to share my experience.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we shall leave it there and we shall depart. But it's lovely to see you again, Danielle.
It's lovely to see you too.
We shall connect again soon. But until then, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take
You
care of
too.
yourself.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.